Yeah.
Every time I speak to anyone from Langkawi FM, that's all I feel like, just abandoning work and go to Langkawi immediately. It's such an amazing place. But of course, in Kuala Lumpur today, very, very cloudy weather. It's been raining since morning, the kind of weather where you just want to sleep in. But unfortunately, as working adults, we need to be at work.
Yes, unfortunately, that's a responsibility that we have to do.
Okay. Okay, Halina.
Yes.
In the studio today with us, we have Associate Professor Dr. Nur Adli Rizwan Shah Muhammad Dali, who is from University Science Islam Malaysia. Now, of course, today we're going to be talking about something very important, something that has caused waves all over Malaysia, the fuel subsidy, and also we're going to be talking about the rationalization of the fuel subsidy. So I would just like to say hi to the Prof. Hello, Professor. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Wow.
Okay, now let's continue with the questions. Now, of course, the People's Welfare Professor now has always been the focus of the Madani government. Now, there are several initiatives that were implemented, such as fuel rationalization. What was your initial reaction when this was first announced?
Well, KG, my first initial reaction is actually to the, the fuel rationalization initiative was actually cautious but optimism, right? So on one hand, it is actually a necessary step for the government to actually rationalize the subsidy to be used effectively and benefit those who need them most, right? So, but on the other hand, I'm actually a bit cautious about whether it actually will impact a certain industry, and also it will actually affect certain group of people if the subsidy is being uplifted. So that is my initial, which is cautious but optimism, right?
Cautious but optimism. Halina?
Okay, yeah. In your opinion, why did the government take this decision?
Well, basically, what I believe that they are doing is they are actually trying to better manage the resources, okay, and also they ensure that subsidies are being targeted to the right people, okay, the right targeted people. So, by rationalizing the fuel subsidies, basically the government aims to reduce wastage. Okay, so to make sure that the energy is being channeled to the efficiently, and also to avoid this what we call it leakage of this, what we call it the smuggling, what we have done by the unethical, what we call it, and illegal, okay, smugglers. So one thing is that is actually trying to reduce the wastage, and also to make sure that the energy is being efficiently distributed.
And of course, we've seen many cases of smuggling that happens at the borders of Malaysia. Now, part of the challenge for this is to identify and compile those who are really qualified to receive the aid. How can these initiatives, Professor, be targeted and delivered to the right group in a timely manner? Okay,
this is actually a big challenge for the government, because now when we talk about the to ensure that the right target of people receive the the subsidies, we need to have the data. Now we are talking about AI, right? So the artificial intelligence. So we need to use that. So I mean, the artificial intelligence is actually a very it can actually actually can actually try to to analyze the data, and then actually they can actually segmented, okay, the actual targeted people that actually need, okay, the subsidies, right? For example, the B40s, okay, the
small time traders.
So the first thing is this data analytic, okay, which is the artificial intelligence. The second one is the data itself, okay, the demographic profiles of the people, okay, of Malaysia. So we need to have that. So I believe that we have this PADU, okay, PADU. Okay, it should be be used.
Yep.
To identify who are the targeted subsidy recipients, right? And thirdly, probably the local authorities and also the community leaders can participate in terms of identifying the real targeted people that really need these subsidies, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that has been the idea behind the entire rationalization, to make sure that the subsidies reach the, as you said, without leakage and without and also the smuggling.
Yeah, you just imagine like this, right? If I have a family, right? For example, I have 5 children, right? So as a as a family leader, I need to provide them. Okay, so I'm giving them allowance, monthly allowance. Now, if my income, for example, is actually, I mean, when you know that our cost of living is getting higher and higher, so suddenly we need to actually allocate our resources. Okay. And then these resources is very we can say it's scarce lah. Okay, so basically, if your income is, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000, then you have to do you have to minus all your expenses and so on. So you need to distribute your resources, okay, to your children. For example, I have 5. Okay, now let's say, okay, I didn't have any increase in my income, but the expenses keep on going up. So I need to rationalize, okay, my allowance to my children, for example. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay. So let's say if my first child, okay, already finishes her her degree, and because she's a woman, so I'm still have to support, right, until she is getting married. But if she has already getting married, then my responsibility, okay, to give a monthly allowance should be transferred to her husband, correct? Right?
Yeah.
So that's actually the thing. So we are trying to allocate the resources that we have, okay, efficiently. So if for example, if she has already married, but I'm still giving her monthly allowance, that I don't think it's fair, right?
True.
Alright, so that's just an analogy, right? So story, right?
A proper analogy there. Halina.
Okay. Yeah. Prof, is the decision to implement the fuel rationalization a timely one?
Well, now this is a very difficult question. So because this has been asked since more than 5 years ago. So whether we should actually rationalize the subsidy in our country, but I believe that if we don't do it now, then when we will actually be doing it, right? So in some time we need to do it, but the issue is that we need to be prepared with all the changes, right, in terms of short-term changes and also the long-term changes. But we are talking about the long-term changes in the future. So which is we are thinking about positive changes in the future, right?
Okay, Halina, as well as Professor, what we're going to do right now, we're going to be taking a very short break. Once we come back, we will continue talking about the rationalization of fuel subsidy. For our listeners in both Langkawi FM and TRAXXfm, we are currently speaking to Associate Professor Dr. Nur Adli Rizwan Shah Muhammad Dali, University Science Islam Malaysia. We will be right back. Welcome back to TRAXXfm, Langkawi FM, face-to-face Activate. And today in studio, we have Associate Professor Dr. Nur Adli Rizwan Shah Muhammad Dali, University Science, Islam Malaysia. We're also being joined by Halina. All right, so Professor, it was reported that certain fuel businesses around the borders had now slowed down after the implementation of the fuel rationalization. This shows that the subsidy leakage can be managed effectively. What is subsidy leakage? Now, we did touch upon this just a little bit earlier. What else can be done to keep it in check?
Well, subsidy leakage is actually, as we mentioned just now, is actually smugglers actually benefiting from our subsidy, right?
Yes.
So they are making money.
Because our diesel price was quite
was
low.
Quite low compared to their countries, right? So this can happen through various means, such as smuggling, black market sales, and also fraudulent claims.
Fraudulent claims, yes.
Yeah, that's but to keep it in check, right, basically the government can actually implement the stricter monitoring, all right? Stricter monitoring, especially at the borders. Right? But now, since the price is not much different, okay, as compared to the prices in the other countries, so it might not be
economical for
them to do that, because the risk is higher, right? When if the risk is higher, then they will actually try to avoid doing that, okay? And the economic benefit is small, right? So stricter monitoring and enforcement mechanism, so improve transparency, and also engage in continuing auditing, right? Towards the businesses at the borders. Right? So I think that can be done also.
Okay, right, Halina?
Yeah, why is this happening, Professor?
Well, one thing is actually happening, okay, the leakage, right? The smuggling. Okay, one is the the economical benefits for the smugglers, right? Okay. But the second thing is that probably our the enforcement at the borders is not strict, or maybe it's weak. Okay, so we know because we have very large borders.
Yeah, okay? Land border. Yeah.
Okay, so that is actually the opportunity for them. Okay, to do smuggling. Okay, is very high. Okay, so and also there are so many ways of how they actually can do it. Okay, all right. So they are very innovative. Okay, in one sense. Okay. But it's not in good sense, lah. Okay, right? So they can actually modify their vehicles so that they can actually pump in a lot more, okay, diesels or petrol, okay, to smuggle it to the borders.
Okay, and now how big? Now this is a very important question. How big is the impact of fuel rationalization on the economy?
Well, we have read that it actually involved about 4 billion ringgit. So it's quite big, right? 4 billion ringgit. Now, just imagine that, okay, if we save 4 billion ringgit, okay, in subsidies, this 4 billion ringgit can actually be distributed to necessities industry sectors, such as, okay, we can think about healthcare industry. Then we can go to education industry. And probably the next one should be in healthcare, education, or maybe in terms of infrastructure, right? So 4 billion is quite big, okay? It's quite big. So that 4 billion can actually build many schools, for example, okay? So for example, if we talk about maybe if one school costs you about 10 million, so we can actually build so many schools, okay, with the the rationalization of the subsidies. All right.
Okay. All right. So, Halina, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take another short break.
All right.
And once we come back, there is more to talk about the rationalization of the fuel subsidy. And for our listeners out there, our guest in studio, Associate Professor Dr. Nur Adli Rizwan Shah Muhammad Dali from University Science, Islam Malaysia. Now, we will be right back. right, so Halina.
Yes, KG. All right, we're back with Associate Professor Dr. Noradli Rizwan Shah Muhammad Dali, University Science Islam Malaysia, with the topic Rationalization of Fuel Subsidy. Prof, how long before we can start seeing the results, and what can be done to speed up the process?
Well, we cannot see the result right now, okay, because we have to wait for a while, because actually we need to see the data, okay. For example, 1 year, at least the shortest time should be 1 year, or maybe we can see quarterly data. But then normally we can see the data in 1 year time. So basically, 1 year is the earliest. Then we can see we are looking for the long term effect of the subsidy, we call it rationalization. So we cannot see it in we call it
the short term.
The short term period, okay. But we are looking at for in the long term. Okay.
All right. So, and of course, the current situation, we need adjustment. What is your advice as we adjust to this?
Well, we need to be stay informed. All right, stay informed. Listen to TRAXXfm, right? And then be proactive. Okay, basically, this is what is happening in our life. So there are a lot of things that is happening that we need to maybe readjust, okay, in terms of our maybe of how habit, okay, our spending habit, our ways of how we are doing things. So sometimes we need to adjust. Okay, we cannot stay static as previously that we have done before. So we have to have like a paradigm shift in whatever what we are doing right now, especially when we have this. We know that the price of diesel is higher, okay, and then maybe probably later on fuel, okay, in terms of petrol. Then we need to look at alternative energies as we have discussed just now, KG, right? So there are a lot of other alternatives, okay. So I'm also thinking about changing to, solar, okay, for my house consumption. Yeah. Well, so we need to be keep informed, okay, learning all these things, all these new things, right, and then also to be proactive, to be able to change.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to add to this topic?
Okay, I'd like to add that while these measures, okay, are necessary, right? So we need to have this, I call it fiscal consolidation, right? So it's also important for the government to convey, okay, to the public, okay, effectively regarding about what is actually they are doing, right? And clear communication on how these changes will benefit everyone in the long run, okay? So basically, it is not the change that will be happening in right now is going to change right now also, but it will be happening in the future, right? So and then continuous, we call it engagement and so feedback, okay, from the public will be crucial, okay, in fine tuning, okay, these changes, right? So basically, we need to listen, okay, to the people on the ground. Also, we need to listen from the from I think above, below, and also from right and also from the left, right? So 360.
Yes, 360. I think this is an ever-evolving situation. This is not a one-time thing. Yes. They will constantly evolve. They'll change their policy upon it and all of that.
Yeah, I do agree.
Right. Okay. All right. So. Thank you so much, Professor. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the studio today. We hope to see you again in the future. And of course, the rationalization of fuel subsidy was the topic for today. And actually, that comes to the end of our interview. But Halina, yes. So why don't you tell us a bit about your social media and how we can get in touch with you guys at Langkawi FM?
All right. So we are on those platforms, all right. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or not Twitter, X. YouTube, TikTok, and so on. The handle is langkawifm.rtm. So we're there. We have things that happened in the past. Currently, of course, like now we are broadcasting the face-to-face session with KG and the professor. And you can check us out online, all over there.
All right. And I've actually checked out your TikTok videos before. It's quite funny, man. All right.
Very, very.
All right. So, Halina, I would just also like to say that TRAXXfm Langkawi FM's face-to-face Activate takes place every third Thursday of the month. You know what? We keep meeting over the radio. I can't wait to meet you guys in the future. Hopefully, we get to do an event together, yeah?
Yes, I hope so as well.
All right, and I'm gonna let you go, and it's about time that Langkawi FM as well as TRAXXfm's face-to-face Activate comes to an end for today. We will be catching you guys soon, but right now it's time for more music.